You know, in life, blow-ups happen, and we're starting to see a few in our business. We're starting to see people who have to sell their house. They have to sell their house because they can't they don't feel they can make the mortgage payments anymore. They just don't see it. So let me explain. So we would get about two or three calls like that a year. Like if I look back on last year, 2024, we got about two or three calls during the whole course of the year that were based on that sort of theme that, hey, I can't keep, I'm falling behind on my mortgage, or I will fall behind in 2 months, or I'm already 3 months behind. And, we got about that's about three or four, maybe for the whole year with that exact kind of theme. In May, we had four in May. Like in 1 month, we had four. Okay. Yeah, things have changed. And it's the same. It's, hey, I am 30 days behind on my mortgage. I am 90 days behind on my mortgage. I am going to, I've only can see that I'll max out my credit cards and we'll start to not be able to pay the mortgage. Because I've been making some of the payments with the credit cards. Yeah. So that's a big difference. 3 in a year to 4 in a month. That's a substantial difference. Now, it's anecdotal. I'm not saying there's a wave of this coming. It's not going to be the real estate apocalypse and every third house is going to have to be sold. That's all crazy. That's not going to happen. Not at all. I mean, there's even enough people working for the government in Canada that's not going to happen in all likelihood. But all of it boils down to one thing: employment. We said so many times when the huge change on variable rate happened. It's probably foggy for everybody now, but it's clear in my mind. If we go back 2.5 years, it was an uproar. Some people had mortgages where they started at 145 as on the rate, variable rate 1.45, went to 6.2 in the course of just a little over a year, and everybody said, "Oh my God, those people will have to sell their house." And none of them sold their house. First of all, they were stress tested. Second of all, they found a way. Okay, they were still working. They were all still working. Employment. I've said it before on this channel. The three most important things about mortgage default are employment, employment, and employment. Those are the three things. Every chief risk officer in Canada will tell you the same thing. So that's what we're up against. So what was it? What was the story? First of all, it was a real estate agent who had not sold a house. He had done a few leases, but he hadn't sold a house in 13 months. 13 months. So he's effectively out of business, and he's now behind his mortgage. We had a truck driver who was doing long haul down to the States, not food, wasn't related to food. And his trips are down 50%. His grandfather, who lives with them, was doing security work in a construction yard. Well, that construction yard is shut down now. There's nothing to be security about anymore. They're not building the houses anymore. I mean, they sold what they had and now they're done. So he's not a security guard anymore. The wife works in fast food. And she doesn't get as many hours as she used to. She's still working, but there's no more overtime. So with this 50% cut in his income from the long haul drive, he can't pay his mortgage anymore. Well, he's done the calculation. He's a smart guy. I mean, some truck drivers are very smart people. Okay, they're smart. He's done the math. And he says, on 2 months, I'm going to be in deep trouble. We had a retired couple who was working part time, and they had done two different separate over the course of years. They had a mortgage, and they did two separate HELOCs to help two different kids of theirs with down payments. And now the part-time jobs have dried up, and they can't pay their mortgage. It's just as simple as that. They're 30 days in arrears. Finally, we had a small business guy, and COVID hit him. He was in manufacturing, so it didn't hit him as much as a restaurant owner or a motel person or something like that, but it hurt him. COVID hurt him a bit. They recovered a bit, but he took money out of his house to get him to see himself through COVID because he didn't really qualify for CEWS. So Now Trump's killed it. He ships half of his stuff to the U.S. and it's killed it. It's small. It's only like 4 employees. It's a small company, but he can't wait for Carney to get a treaty done. He just can't wait. I mean, the mortgage company doesn't wait. So that's where we're at. So it was all of the stories in May were about employment, okay, which is what we expected in Ontario. Windsor is now over 10% unemployment. It's bad in the GTA. Ontario's the highest. I think it's second highest or almost the highest. Anyway, high unemployment. And that's what you see. The people use their credit cards. They use what they can to get by. And eventually it taps out. It just limits out. And this is the thing to understand. Like, you could say, well, these people could have been more wise. They shouldn't have given the kids the down payment. Or these people could have been more wise. They shouldn't have refinanced their home. They should have found another way. Or we could all say that people could have been more wise and more conservative, more careful. But none of these people are flippers. They're not speculators. They're not investors. They own no rental properties. None of them do. Okay? None. So really, it's tragedy. Really, it's tragedy. It's life's events went the wrong way. Not every decision was perfect, but they weren't a bunch of dog crate condo investors. None of them are. Okay? So what's the lesson? I guess the lesson is to be thankful if you're okay. The lesson is you do have to be careful. When your kids want something, you might not always be able to help them. You have to be conservative. You can't use hope as a business strategy. All those things you could say. But here's one thing for sure. They wouldn't have a problem if they worked for the government. So what is the lesson then? Is the lesson that people working in private industry are in a vulnerable spot in this country? Yeah, sometimes that is true.